fraud, waste, abuse, and corruption. No, these aren't the newest far-fetched tales of your favorite crime author. These are true stories brought to light by brave whistleblowers who don't want to look the other way. I'm whistleblower attorney Michael Wilson, and this show is dedicated to the heroes within us all. Look for a new episode of The Whistleblower on autism with our autism advocate and YouTube star, Kenny Valdivia. Stream The Whistleblower on all digital platforms today.